How you doing? My name is Frank James Bailey. With this video, I'm going to give you some more information about my newest novel, Azreal, the story of Steve James. Now, before we get into all the details, I would really love it if you were to take the time to subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and make a comment as well, because every little bit helps and I really appreciate it. Alright, today's video is more about the main character, which is named Steve James. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I am not Steve, and Steve is not me. However, I put a lot of my own problems in Steve. I'm not saying it's a self-reflective book, but it sort of is. You see, Steve is divorced. I'm not. I've been married for 19 years. Steve has one kid. I have two. But a few years ago, when I first wrote the outline for this book, I was depressed. I didn't have the security job that I have now, and at the time, I was in a really tough spot in my life. I wasn't going to get divorced or anything, but it was a really tough spot. Anyway, I took that pain, that depression, and I put it in Steve. And some of the things that I've experienced through my life, I also put in Steve. But again, I'm not Steve, and Steve isn't me. It's just I put a lot of my own personal feelings and own personal experiences in Steve. This is exactly what writers do, though. Now, if you're going to be a writer, they say you should write what you know. Well, I know myself better than anybody else, so this is exactly what that means. But to give it a better story and make it a little more dramatic and thrilling, I didn't make it all about me. You know what I mean? Anyway, here is more about Steve. Steve James is a 30-year-old divorced man living in a tiny studio apartment in Youngstown, Ohio. He works 12-hour shifts at a factory he can't stand. To dull the pain of this life that he hates so much, he drinks up to 3 bottles of wine a week. Believing his ADHD is a curse, he doesn't see that he has a very creative mind. He wants to be a writer, but he lacks the passion to push himself out of this current slump. The only thing he's ever written is fan fiction stories about his favorite anime show, Death Touch. One night on his 31st birthday, he meets a gorgeous redhead named Kim Sweet. She has a lovely round-shaped face, long flowing red hair, a glowing radiant smile, and lips like rose petals. She's witty, funny, and a little sassy. Kim is the most beautiful woman he's ever met in his life. She loves his fanfiction stories. During their time together, he tells her 3 new stories that he's working on. Each story draws inspiration from his own life. In each story, somebody dies a gruesome death, and Kim loves every bloody detail. So as you can see, Steve is a writer. I'm a writer. If you're a writer like me, then you're probably going to love Azreal, the story of Steve James. Keep in mind, it's a horror thriller novel, kind of like Stephen King stuff. Although I did have one ARC reader tell me it's more like The Sixth Sense, which technically is a horror movie still. And I had one person tell me it's kind of like Silence of the Lambs, which again is still a horror movie. So I guess it depends on what you think about as horror. Now again, my latest book, Azreal, the story of Steve James, is available on paperback, hardcover, or ebook as well. You can find it on Amazon.com, or you can also purchase a copy on my website, which is FrankJamesBailey.com. That's all for now. Thanks all for watching. Until the next video.